As I always say, I didn't even pay attention for the first 5 years. I loved being around the team. I just loved being there. I thought I was a football guy. I thought I was a football coach. I was there, and you could count on me to be there. And I thought I knew what I was doing. I think that's probably the default of all football coaches, even the good ones. Like, we think we know what we're doing, then maybe we get better at it. It wasn't until I was 27. I even worked under some good coaches and still didn't pay attention. It wasn't until I was 27 when I worked under a guy that made me pay attention. He wasn't so nice, but he made me pay attention, and I learned a lot of football because he made me. He made me learn it. Guys, welcome Lucas Freeman in the house. How are you, Coach? Great to have you. Ben Campos out of Carbondale, welcome. Freeman's out of Minnesota. Larry out of Georgia. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. When you get here, please make sure that you check in and let us know where you're from. We love to know where you guys are from. Stu36 here from Michigan, it looks like. Johnny M, did he make you Notepad? Yes. And you know what else he made me? Was do the old Apex system where I had to enter all the, it was on this audio thing back in the day. This is 05, 06, maybe 07 at the latest. And the twins left, and it could never hear you, and it always screwed it up. Well, we are live tonight, fellas. Anthony Ansotig again in the house. Thank you for joining again, Coach Ansotig, representing New Mexico. Hey, Ansotig, you got to go out and get us a few more New Mexico coaches for this stream this week. Where's New Mexico at? New Mexico represent. Coach Gardner in the house out of Park City, Utah. A great coach up there in Utah. Coach Gardner waiting for you to get us a few more Utah guys in the house as well. Well, this is 12 streams out of Massachusetts, Johnny M. Great to have you. Welcome. This is 12 streams of Christmas. Tonight's guest is the offensive staff from La Cueva High School in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and they are outside zone supreme, man, outside zone with a midline read even, and they throw slants, RPO slant. They throw slant more than probably anyone I've seen. And listen, slant's deadly, but it's so hard to complete. But they keep doing it. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable how much, when you watch the film from this clinic from tonight, I think you'll be amazed. I mean, it's so good. Anyway, after we go live for just 30 minutes, so I better get him in here shortly. After we go live for 30 minutes, Coach Rico Marcellis, that's the OC, his video from the online clinic will play right here on the video, on the channel, and it'll stay up for about 24 hours. After 24 hours, it comes down and it'll stay permanently over at the clinic. That's clinic.chiefpigskin.com. Mitch Jansen in the house out of Kingman, Arizona. Welcome, Coach Jansen. So glad to have you. Fellas, let me read my shout out to my sponsor, and then we're going to bring our guests in, talk a little ball, hang out. As always, chat it up in the chat, shoot out any questions you may have, answer any questions I ask them, answer them yourself. Dabo, Jimbo, Franklin, Riley, Herman, what do these coaches have in common? They all use Guardian caps during practice. These caps reduce up to 33% of the impact to address the repetitive, subconcussive blows that add up during the week while keeping your helmets looking like new. Check them out at guardiansports.com or on Twitter at Guardian_caps. Thank you, Guardian Caps, for sponsoring. Let's go get our guests in here. Here we go. Rico iPad Pro, Damian Elibario, am I saying that right? And the boss, Coach Brandon back in the house. Let's get all these guys in. Let me know if anybody's struggling to hear me. Do I got you, Rico?
You got me.
Yes, sir. And Damian, Coach Elibario, did I say your name right?
That's pretty damn good, man. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't butcher it too much. Well, fellas, welcome, Coach, back. We got you, sound and all?
Yes, sir. We're good to go.
Well, you guys got a chance to meet Coach back last night, and tonight we're talking offense. Hey, John Houston in the house out of San Antonio, Texas. Welcome, Coach Houston. Glad to have you. We're talking outside zone tonight. We're live just for 30 minutes with the staff here at La Cueva. 2017 state runners-up in New Mexico, 2018 state champs. And these are the guys that helped lead them there. Coach Marcelli is the OC. Coach Elibario, tell us what your role is.
So I'm just joining this staff, so this will be my first year here. I'm doing running backs and H-backs right now.
Okay, so and of course you guys didn't get a season like same as us, so you were all ready to go, and now you've been forced to wait a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, good. And then you said H-backs and what?
Running backs.
Running backs and H-backs. Got to separate
Coach
those
D,
guys.
he was the offensive coordinator for the state runner-up last year at Rio Rancho High School. So he's been with Coach Marcelli for a number of years, and they've kind of developed this system together. And he was an OC at school, and then when that head coach left, we were fortunate enough to pick him up with our guys. So
that's Coach Elibario you're talking about.
Yes, sir.
So you were at Rio Rancho, state runners up last year, and you and Rico have worked together before.
Yeah, so, back in 2012, I think it was, when Coach Marcelli got the Valley job, I was already working there for the previous coach, and he came on board, and, it was one of those things where I really wasn't sure if he was going to keep me or not. We're kind of the same age. I was part of the old staff, but he kept me on board, and we kind of hit it off pretty early on, and, kind of picked it up and been running with it ever since. We got separated for a little while, and then now we're back together.
I'll tell you what, I got a really good buddy. I got from my days in Champaign, Illinois, I made a handful of really tight buddies. We had a staff that was really, really tight, right? So these buddies now we've all been separated, and all of us down to the last man, we're like, gosh, we just miss hanging out. Like, you know how it is, right? You get along well with somebody, you work well with somebody, they think similarly to you, and it's tough when you separate. So it's really cool to hear. Coach, we're going to start jumping into some things. Marcelli, you'll probably get to answer most of the questions, so your time is coming here. But my first question that I want to kick things off with is what I love to ask. You guys each get to choose one team. Now, the Cleveland guys chose, these teams are off the table. We're saying who's the safest money in New Mexico, that they'll be in the state title game next year. Out of 6A, you guys are 6A, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can't choose 6A, and you can't choose any of these four teams that the Cleveland staff chose. They drafted Coach Ridenauer just went with his hometown Lovington, but their linebackers coach chose Eunice. The D coordinator chose Texaco, and the DB's coach chose Artesia. So those teams are off the table. With those teams off the table and all 6A teams off the table, help educate us on New Mexico football, who's the safest money to be in the title game next year. Let's kick it off with you, Rico.
That's easy. We'll go with Mayfield because they were a 6A powerhouse and they just moved down to 5A. So I'll take Mayfield.
You think they're going to get it done? Where's Mayfield?
Yeah. Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Now, where is Las Cruces compared to you guys?
South. They're about 30 miles from El Paso, Texas. So they're right down there on the border.
So like it just goes straight down that highway, right? And that goes to El Paso, and straight north on that highway takes you into like Colorado Springs, Denver?
Santa Fe, Colorado Springs, all that, yep.
Okay, so then what highway is that goes north-south?
25.
That's Highway 25. Awesome. Okay, Mayfield, 5A powerhouse. Let's go to you, Coach Elibario. Coach back, sorry, head coach always goes last. Elibario, who's safe money in New Mexico?
I'm going to say Los Lunas. They're a 5A school, and, they've just had it going lately. It seems like, if I'm not mistaken, I think they were in the title game last year, and they've just been flirting with it. So I'm going to go with Los Lunas.
Los Lunas. I had heard of them. I've seen their name. Coach back, who's left, man? We've named like 5 schools.
I'm going to go with Eunice High School.
Which somebody already took Eunice.
Oh, they did?
They took Eunice. You got to go
somewhere
somewhere
hard, man.
else.
Eunice, Artesia's off the table.
Yes.
That's a rough ski. Santa Rosa. I'm going to go with Santa Rosa. They run a single wing turn and spin, old school wing stuff, man. And they're a force to be reckoned with. They're out on the east side of the state a little bit, and they've got a long tradition.
Santa Rosa. Coach Elibario, I didn't ask you where Los Lunas is.
Los Lunas is about 25 minutes south of Albuquerque, so kind of, I guess you would consider it part of the Metroplex.
Okay.
Just down I-25, just a straight shot down, you bump right into it.
Coach Eddings in the house out of California, welcome. Coach Houston out of San Antonio, and Jansen out of Kingman, Arizona. Fellas, would love to know what school you're at. Johnny M would love to know what school you're at. A couple guys that are here for the first time. Anybody else that's here for the first time, check in and let us know where you're watching from. What I want to know is this, Coach Marcelli, your feeling. I always say, if you start with, I feel like, then you can't be wrong. How much power over the offense do you feel like you have?
Well, I'm lucky. Coach Back's a defensive guy. So he's, I would say that I feel like I have complete control of the offense. He stays out of it. Once in a while there's a suggestion, but it's few and far between. He kind of lets me do my thing. And it's kind of funny, when I first got there, we'd run the ball on 4th and 1 and stuff. And now he wants us to throw it on 4th and short, which was total opposite of the wing G. He's like, hey, let's throw the ball.
Scary,
so
yeah. It's unfortunate.
It's a change we've had to make. We don't have big old offensive linemen, so those things happen. But I'm very fortunate. Coach Back gives me total control.
So you feel like you have total control. Can you think of any time where Back came in over the headsets and is like, hard override?
Well, he doesn't do that, but what he will do is get on the headsets and he'll be like, "Do you think it's going to work? Do you think it's going to work?" And then, I'm like, "Yeah, it's going to work."
And it always works.
And so we just we do have those moments where he's like, "I don't know if we should run that," but then he lets me call it. He never will override a call. He lets me call it. And a lot of times my calls are instinct based, and so we go with it. And sometimes they work, and sometimes they don't. But I'm very fortunate to be in the situation I'm in.
Well, one of the cool things, Coach Back, to relate with you, I did have a couple years where I had an OC, one of my buddies that I trusted really, really well. And it was great to have this. Like, we'd be in a tight game, very tense. You know how it is. Maybe we get stopped. And I could literally just say, please figure this out. Click, and I just click over the defense side. And honestly, by the time I clicked back, I expected it to be figured out. And it usually was. It was figured out. And what a blessing to have that. How do you get yourself to just, Coach Back, just like trust?
Lessons learned. Honestly, I screwed up getting myself in my own way when I first got this head job, and I still wasn't the offense coordinator. And I think my opinion kind of overruled some situations where it shouldn't have. And that was a hard lesson for me to learn as a leader. And I hired him to do a job. I trust him 100%, and I trust the offensive guys 100%. They're going to make great decisions, and it's so much easier to fire them when it's their decision.
That's true.
It was a lesson for me to get out of my own way. I wasn't the offensive coordinator, and I need to stop stepping on people's toes. I probably cost us more games when I did that earlier than now. And it's his job, and he's going to run with it. And I got 100% confidence in him.
Now, I'm going to come back to that in a sec, Coach Back. I want to check in with everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us. We're live here for 30 minutes. We're really talking outside zone, which we're going to get to, I promise. But would love to balance our chat between the folks in the chat and our guys that were joined here by live. This is La Cueva High School staff out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Erica Hamby in the house, La Cueva alum here, she says. CFBK, that is Brian Klee in the house out of Michigan. Ben Johnson out of Evansville Memorial High School. You guys that are DCs in the house or OCs, would love to get your opinion down there. I know Johnson's in the house and he's a DC. Campos. Let's see who else. Klee, aren't you the OC, I believe? And then Coach Gardner, if I already said that, Coach Freeman's an OC. You guys are OC DCs, but not the head coach. How much control do you feel like you have over your offense or defense? Very curious about that. Something that I certainly can grow from, and just hearing from you, Coach Back, is a big deal. Coach Elibario, why would you want to come back and work with Coach Marcelli?
Well, like I said, when we first got together, we've been, we have almost the same career arc. We started coaching around the same time. And, I remember having big time reservations about first, joining up with somebody that's really at the same stage as myself. But the one thing about Rico is we've always, I think, kind of worked really seamlessly together. It's always felt pretty natural. In our early days, it was, it was such a give and take in the middle of a game. He always trusted me to, if I just had a suggestion, we rolled with it. And as time has gone on, we've just gotten closer and closer. And, we already kind of work together. We work off campus at the same place. And so it was really natural in a lot of ways. We, like I said, best buds kind of outside of this deal. And so when the opportunity came up, and it just made a lot of sense for a lot of reasons.
That's pretty great, man. Good for you. I'm excited for you guys. Fellas, let's dive in. I'm going to save this question here, put it behind here. Quick little speed round before I start talking outside zone. Who is the best at? Raise your hand if you believe you are the best of you three at the following things. Raise your hand if you think you are the best of you following three at golf.
Hands back all day.
I beat Brandon last time we played, so I'm gonna say me.
Raise your hand if you think you're the best bowler. It's got to be somebody. Must be me. Maybe it's back. It must be the best bowler. Who's the best at predicting weekend games? Now listen, right? Some may gamble on those things. Some might just, pick. Who's the best?
Marcelli.
Marcelli's the best.
If you want to win some money in Vegas, you go with Marcelli. You could lose, but you're probably going to win.
You got a chance.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Got a chance. You got a chance.
Losing's few and far between.
Who is the best at doing something ridiculous that everybody gets to laugh at eventually?
Coach
Pereira.
You're gonna meet him tomorrow. Yeah.
Oh, okay. A defensive guy.
He's the wildest man you'll ever meet. So you got to talk to him about it. Ever.
All right. So that'll be on defensive night tomorrow night. Last one. Who's the best teacher?
I'm going to go with Coach Alabadio.
I'm going to say Alabadio. Yep.
Okay, man. Okay. Look at that. Now, when I was there in Albuquerque, I heard about some award that Rico just won, though. You got like Teacher of the Year or something, special ed, something.
No, that's just what our DC is. He makes stuff up. That's not what happened. I get a little praise for my jobs, and he just kind of takes it to the next level. That's not true.
Okay. Well, it was a rumor. It was a rumor. All right, let's move on. Listen, when we say outside zone, what are we thinking here? Like, because I'm a wing T gap scheme supreme, right? Listen, what the heck in your mind is outside zone? Give me some specifics, but you only got 60 seconds, Coach Marcelli.
Well, outside zone for us, it starts with a midline read. We're going to get our linemen wide. They're going to open, cross, and climb. Our running back's going to press the tackle's foot and make a cut. That's about half of it. The other half is that we're going to throw slants off of it, and we're going to throw the heck out of them. I mean, if we call outside zone 30 times, we're probably throwing slants 15 to 20 of those, to be honest with it, because that's what the defense gives us, and we take advantage of it. But for us, outside zone's a hang-your-hat play, and it's a play where we can never be too wide. We have a lot of variations of it. We start with the midline, and then the RPO would be the next popular.
See, that doesn't compute with me, because how can a horizontal play be the play, right? Where you feel like, at least you feel like in football, it's like, if like my staple has to be this way. But I'm sure there's things I'm thinking about it wrong.
Well, I can tell you what midline is not. Midline is not an outside play for us, and it's not.
Right, not the midline part. So
get to
the midline part is a lot.
It's not toss.
And it's not the horizontal can be our staple, because we don't have linemen that can move people vertically. We just don't have those guys. But we are faster than teams. When you play somebody like Cleveland in our state, I mean, they have a nose guard who benches 400 or who power clean 405 2 or 3 years ago. We can't block those guys. So for us, it's a staple because we have fast linemen, and we're able to get side to side, and it creates a natural seam in the defense at some point. And if we used to try to line up and run power, and it just doesn't work for us.
Okay, if you go, I got on Twitter, had a handful of guys shoot me some questions that I could ask, not being a zone guy. So a huge shout out to @Tony Schiffman, @Mr. Kelly says, @Coach_Mallard, @Coach B Campos in the chat, @TheCoachVote, and @Mitchell Lee Jant. Some of those guys lent me some questions. When you say outside zone, like, to me, anytime I hear anything outside, I feel like that tackles block, that point of attack block, is going to be crucial. How are you coaching that? And am I right where I'm starting?
For us, it's the crucial read, but that block does not have to be great. In fact, it rarely is for us. Most teams are going to set the edge, and we understand that as a philosophy. So our running back knows that what happens with us, our tackles will get pushed back 2 or 3 yards, to be honest. And that's our telling point for our running back to cut it north and south at that point. So because of the midline read, we'll hit it between the A and B gaps more than we'll hit it in the C gap. because everybody's going to try to keep the edge and set the edge. So we're reading that tackle's foot. If he gets pushed upfield and there's penetration, we're cutting it up right now. If we do reach him and it works out, then that's when we'll bounce the thing.
Coach Elevario, you had said, or Coach Back had said, that you guys have kind of really worked on this system a lot together. So you've done a lot together. Who would you guys, and I'll just let you answer this, but who do you think yourself and Rico are thinking of when you guys think of your main influences, how you got to this path that you guys are currently on offensively?
Madden 2012.
It's tough to say. I mean, another thing that, Rico and I have in common is we kind of just film rats, just kind of sticking our nose in anything we can get into, I remember when we were teaching together at our first school, I mean, Rico would barge into my classroom with a marker and just start, hey, come here, I just saw this, and, what do you think of this? And so, I feel like if you took it to the way back, I feel like the Chip Kelly stuff in Oregon was really influential and kind of how we both started thinking about offense. And then, anymore, man, there's just so many good guys. It's hard to pin down one, but RPO heavy stuff, a guy that I think of for sure, Brent Dearman, is OC over at Kansas. He influenced me quite a bit. But as far as the outside zone stuff, I mean, to be honest, I don't remember where it originally came from. I mean, Rico has definitely taken that and run with it more than I did, during our years apart. He's kind of made it something that's just something you can build on. It's made it much more foundational. So one of the cool things for me is to get back into it and really learn again, right? We kind of went our separate ways and now we're coming back together, and he's just filling my brain with information about kind of what he's added to it. So I'm still learning. I feel like I'm kind of, back to square one with, having to learn how all this is going again.
Now, I hadn't really looked at or considered, or I guess I wasn't very aware that teams would run outside zone rather than inside zone, or like that outside being the staple. Coach Marcelli, what in your opinion is the advantage of outside zone rather than featuring inside zone?
Well, I think the first thing is who you're reading. I don't know about any other states, but the best players on the defense generally right now are defensive ends. And they're hard to read. I mean, they see inside zone so much, they're able to kind of do a good job. I like reading nose guards and one techs because they're not used to being read. And they give you easier reads, they give you more clearer reads, and so that shores up things for us. And they're just not schooled in that stuff, whereas a DN, that's all they're working on all the time is how they react to a zone read or power read and this read. So we like to read those guys. The other reason we like to read them is generally those guys are too big and strong for us to block. We can't sit there and line up and take on those guys. It's just not going to happen. So we'll read those guys and we have much better success. And it creates a natural cutback on the outside zone when you run the midline variation. Mm-hmm. That's what happens for us. That nose guard if he comes upfield, it's still in because we're going to cut it back right now and it's huge. And if he just stands there, we still get a cutback because he's just trying to dive and make the play. So that's where we really like the midline variation is because it just gives us much clearer reads and much easier reads for our quarterbacks. And then the fact that it builds off of all our RPOs.
All right, I got two major things sitting here on my paper that I have to get to, and I'm going to get to them. I want to check in with our chat. Surprisingly enough, we're in our last 10 minutes here, or it's actually 6 minutes left. But usually when I have a group, we might go over 3 to 5 minutes. If you got to go at 8:30, you're welcome to jump off, but I will try to wrap this up. We're in our last 10. It goes fast, man. Being live goes fast. Yeah. I'm not going to ask Coach too many more specifics on his outside zone because right after we're live here, you're going to see his presentation if you are interested in some of those details. And he goes into all those details. It's unbelievable. So you've got to see it. One thing, right before I get to this last question, I'm going to go ahead and give my second shout out to my sponsor, Dabo Jimbo, Franklin, Riley, Herman. What do these coaches have in common? They all use Guardian caps during practice. These caps reduce up to 33% of the impact to address the repetitive, subconcussive blows that add up during the week while keeping your helmets looking like new. Check them out at guardiansports.com or on Twitter at Guardian_caps. Coach, the call block. Tell them what the call block is and how did you land on. Is this your own creation?
I think it just came up in the office one day because we're just not real great up front. I'll give you a story. Our center, who was an all-state player, he lost in wrestling to one of the 6A team's receivers. That's our guy. So, we run outside zone and our guys are getting pushed 3 or 4 yards back, but we're rushing for 200 yards. So we came up with the term controlled ass whooping. That's what we're taking. So we're getting pretty good at taking controlled ass whoopings, and it's, we don't tell our offensive linemen that too much, but in the office we talk about it a lot. And so that's where the call block kind of came from for us.
Now, the call block, is that anywhere across the board, or is that really that tackle at the play side?
It's pretty much on the play side is generally where it happens. But, it really just came about because, we're taking a bunch of skinny guys and just trying to block these big old guys, and they're pushing us back. But we're able to create seams and do enough outside with the RPO that we're able to be successful with it.
Coach Back, I'm going to come to you for this next question. Okay, this is really our last topic here that we're going to be able to get to, so we'll cover as much as we can in this amount of time. And then, of course, you guys all have an opportunity, any closing thoughts or something we didn't hit that you wanted to before we jump off. But Coach Back, I have always considered, so one thing, I guess I'll give you my 10-second background. One of my base philosophies has always been high percentage, high percentage, high percentage. The slant has famously been at the high school level one of the lower percentages throws. It's so hard to do. Now, Aaron Rodgers makes it look easy, but every other team I've coached, I'm like, this is hard. You guys, how do you get to the point where you're making it look, I can't say you make it look easy, but you're hitting it consistently?
Repetition. It's the only thing that's going to get it done. It's something that Coach Marcelli has hung his hat on, and it's something that they constantly rep. And that not just through the season, but I'm talking out of season, summer 7-on-7 repetition. Our guys are catching thousands upon thousands of slant routes every single day. And they're doing it against our defense, which is an aggressive cover one defense. So they're doing it with dudes in their face 7 days a week. And I think that plays a big role in them being able to catch it with contact. They're used to people being all over their back catching this ball. And so it's just repetition after repetition.
Elabadio, is Rico, you're going to get the closing thoughts here, Coach Marcelli. Is Marcelli throwing slant too much, or do you know of anyone else that throws slant as much or as successfully?
I've been really fortunate. So we spent, I think, 4 seasons apart, and I was on the offensive side too, so I didn't have to deal with him, man. And that was nice. But it's everybody knows how, everybody around here knows that we're pretty close. And so, I'll get a lot of buddies that, will call me and be like, hey, what's Rico want to do? What's Rico want to do? And I'll be like, oh, it's there. I mean, you see it. And they're like, you can't just do it all day long. You can't. I'm like, yeah, you can. And he will.
Yes, I could see those meetings. Like, hey, we're going to have to let them throw it. They can't do it all day. And then you guys come out and zoom. The problem with slant is that a dude catches it on full run. And those dudes who are athletes are hard to deal with. Okay, Marcelli, your turn.
Well, we do run it a lot, but I don't know if you know this, but traditionally our defense is the best in the state. I mean, we're lights out. I think our cover one year, I think we gave up 48 yards a game passing or something ridiculous. So we know how to get open against man because we play it all the time. So we're highly confident in it, first of all, and we love it against all coverages. And so we run it all the time because now what's happened is everybody wants to stop it, and we've gotten 4-man boxes before now. I mean, literally everybody's playing the slant, and when we struggle to run against those is when we struggle, and obviously that shouldn't happen. But we're going to call it. And the thing that makes us be able to call it a lot is we read the front and the back side of it. Most teams RPO is on the same side as the running back. Mm-hmm. Because we're doing off outside zone and our QB can stay square. We hit it on both sides all the time. And that's where we really get the big plays, is a lot on the front side.
Well, I'll tell you, when we film these things, so I'm at your guys' school, we're filming this, and I don't get to really watch or listen. I'm usually in the back. So I then get in my office and I start editing this, right? And then you turn on the film. I'm like, man, this is good. Then you turn on the film and I'm like, oh, dang. Oh, dude, it is nasty. Like that, your offense is so far from my comfort zone. It's ridiculous. But it was within 2-3 plays, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is nasty. So like I said, it all feels so foreign to me, Marcelli. but I was so intrigued by it. Such a cool concept. Let's close with this. And you're welcome to take this any direction you want, but also any closing thoughts as well. Just curious, Rico, what do you think Damian brings to you, right? To bring an old buddy back. Like, what do you think he's going to add to your guys' attack?
He's going to help us a ton in the run game. When we have struggled, we get super light boxes, and they're daring us to go tackle to tackle, inside zone, that type of stuff. And we haven't been good at it. Damian was at Rio Rancho last year, and they rushed for over 400 yards against Cleveland in the state title game, and predominantly inside type of run games. So I think he's going to beef up the run game for sure for those teams that do want to play light boxes. So that's going to be a big addition. And then everything else, I think we have a lot of similarities, and I think it's just a good mesh overall for us. But I do think it'll help us with the run game, because generally when we struggle, it's people are daring us to run tackle to tackle, taking away RPO, and we just aren't able to block those guys, or we're not all in on it because we're so all in on outside zone that we haven't repped that stuff enough. So we've got to find another niche in there inside to be able to do when we see some of those crazy defenses.
Man, I'll tell you what, it is nasty. I'm excited for you guys to see it. That'll play after this. It'll stay up for 24 hours. Then it'll go over to the clinic, and it'll stay permanently there. That's at clinic.chiefpigskin.com. We've worked hard on it. I'm pretty proud of it and would love for you guys to check it out. Would really appreciate it. Hey, before we get to these guys' closing thoughts, all you guys in the chat, if you could leave us a thumbs up or subscribe if you haven't already, those things really help, and would be very grateful for that. Men, La Cueva men, so grateful for you guys. I've had a blast getting to know you guys. Tomorrow night we're talking defense with their defensive staff. You offensive men, any closing thoughts, man? Thanks so much for joining us.
When you talk to defensive staff, make sure you talk to Kevin Perea. That guy's wild. He's a hell of a type. So just make sure you ask him a few things. We call him the Mamba. So you can maybe ask him why he's the Mamba.
The Mamba. Okay, the Mamba, Kevin Perea. Hey, and their defense is very aggressive. I'm very intrigued by playing man defense because it's something I've been scared of for years and years. Coach Alabadio, any closing thoughts?
Just want to say thanks for having us. Looking forward to watching our defensive guys out there tomorrow. They're again, that's another nice thing about coming over is I don't got a game plan for those guys anymore. It's they've done an outstanding job, and so excited for everybody to do that. Side note, I coached Kevin when he was in school, so he's one of my guys, and he's a wild man. I can't wait for you guys to see something else.
Hey, every staff needs one. You gotta have one. It just makes your weekend so much more fun. Coach Back, closing thoughts.
Just be a student of the game. A funny, interesting tidbit about Coach Marcelli. He is actually an all-state offensive guard in the wing T system. That's what he grew up in.
No kidding.
And probably why he hates running it so much, because he played so much of it. And so anybody can be a student of the game and learn something new. And I would say that our offensive staff, top to bottom, has done that. They are absolutely students of the game. Everything they can devour, they take in. And so anybody can do that. But yeah, he's an all-state lineman.
Well, man, I'll tell you, when I got back from New Mexico, my dad asked, he said, called right away. He said, well, how was the trip? I said, well, Dad, we got two really good staffs, man. I mean, no surprise these guys are winning games, and super impressed by you guys. Very grateful. Look us up if you ever need anything, and I'm looking forward to meeting that defensive staff tonight. We'll see you.
Thanks.
Later.
Thank you.
Be a head coach at Valley High School here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and then I've been at La Cueva since 2016. We're 38-11 here at La Cueva. First year we're 6-5. We were converting from a wing T team to a spread throw the ball team. So we had a tough transition there. But as we've gotten going, we kind of had some pretty good success. 2018, we were the 6A state champions, 13-0. 2017, we were the 6A runner-up. We've averaged 38.7 points per game since I got to La Cueva. And I put my contact information on here. It's marcelli@aps.edu. If you want any clips, slides, whatever you guys need, feel free to email me. I'll shoot you some stuff. Hopefully we can help you out. Love talking football, love talking offense, like seeing all these points scored. So this is our comfort zone. So yeah, if you need anything, feel free to contact me there, marcelli@aps.edu.